Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Payne. Welcome back to another episode of Blu Ocean Crypto. So today I want to talk about one of the fastest armies that you can train in order to help you get your cap, because one thing that's definitely apparent for everyone right now, it is no easy feat with lands in order to hit your daily cap limit. I mean, 14 3-stars with the legendary, it's not simple. So actually Miles in Blu Ocean Games Guild, he was tweaking an army that we used to use, which was the Blaze Helicopter ones, and just found kind of a really good balance that was quick to train. A lot of us have been testing it and it's been going decently well. However, there is some risks with it. You know, it definitely doesn't perform quite as good as the air attack, so you got to be aware of that. But I'm going to go through all the nuances and details here and show you guys what this is all about. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
I want to play.
Okay, so just taking a look at the army, it's 39 blazes, 50 helicopters, 6 phages, and 6 boom carts. Now, there's a couple important reasons why there's no brutes, rangers, or whales in this. If you actually take a look at the recruit time, you can see it's 40 seconds on the whale. Rangers are actually a little higher than you would think. They're 7. And then the brutes are 35. So when you compare that to, boom cart, which is 10, the heel copter, which is only 9 seconds, phages, which are only 8, and then the blazes, which are 20. Really, the goal with this army was to get it to be the smallest train time possible. It's about 22 minutes right now. So you can basically get 3 of these attacks in for almost the same amount of time that it would take you to get 2 air attacks in. So that's the big reason why we're not using brutes, why we're not using rangers. Now, I'll talk about it a little bit when I get into some attacks here, why if you do really want to go for that 3-star and it's not so much about the training time, you might want to add a couple brutes and a couple rangers or switch over to the whales. But let me show you some attacks here. And it's actually just my most 3 recent. Now, I'm going to show you 2 here because I want to show you that this is possible without heroes. And that's something that's really important because it's difficult. Say you got 2 armies trained, you do 1 attack, your heroes die. You don't have to wait for the heroes to come back up. And that's always been the advantage with air, is usually the heroes are just to kind of secure the 3-star at the end or save the 2, but this can work without heroes. Now, not always, but let's take a look at these. And then once I'm done these attacks, I'll show you guys my attack log so you can kind of see what the risk is with this. So you are still generally looking for certain types of bases. I don't find the anti-air being in the center too big of a deal. The reason why I like going for this is I knew I was going to be able to get 3 of the anti-air, and that's what you're doing. You're really trying to get the anti-air. So basically you can see I did a wide deployment on the blazes. I started with 30 of my helicopters, but then I decided just to deploy the rest because I knew those anti-air were going to get taken out. I am saving the 6 phages until a little bit later. What's nice too is the blazes do rip through the enemy heroes relatively well as long as they're in a big group. If there's only a few of them or they get split up, they can struggle a bit with the heroes. And as you guys are probably already imagining, the thing that absolutely wrecks this attack is mines. So if someone has a leveled up mine, plus there's a motor shot that just happens to time perfectly, you're done. Double mines is just GG. It's over, right? So it was kind of risky for me coming in on the bottom left there with all that openings. So, I kind of knew starting this attack, there was a chance it was either going to go well or not at all. And that's kind of the risk reward that you're playing here. Now I'm dropping my phages just to do the cleanup. Now, yes, it does take a little bit to finish the attack. Sometimes I'll get a 96, 98 because I ran out of time, but not too often. This is why some people want to do some rangers, but like I said, I'm trying to keep it as lean as possible on the time, because also when I pop a training capsule and I'm using Sapphire, this army is actually a lot cheaper to train. So there are some bases you want to avoid if their anti-air is all kind of clumped around the headquarters, or they're kind of in an awkward spot, especially if they're bunched together, kind of like this base is hard to hit. But let me show you another attack here. Now, any kind of box bases are generally pretty good to hit with this attack too, because you can just do that wide deployment. Now, a lot of people are actually trying doing like 2 groups of blazes or 3 groups of blazes, but I just generally find the wide deployment a little bit superior. It also spreads my helicopters out enough. And you can see I generally do the blazes, then I just do the 3 boom carts on each side, kind of opens up. I'm going straight for those 2 anti-air, that's the most important thing. But because all my helicopters weren't just in one spot, they're not all just dying to those anti-air. And then generally what you're going to want to do is kind of sprinkle them in. But the reason I want to show you guys this attack is on these box bases, when your blazes start to kind of loop around here, you can see they're getting wrecked by the anti-air. That's when you can bring in some helicopters on the edges to kind of help support and pick up the ones that died, essentially. So now we just need to get them to go up and get that last anti-air, which they will. Also, anti-air mines do wreck your helicopters, so that'll happen too. You can see here, we managed to get through the base. Gonna fight the enemy Mara, send the phages. Sometimes you can send the phages a little bit early, especially if you're using your heroes to clear the trash, but I find it is generally a little better to save them until the end if you can. And there we go. So I'll show you one more, and then we'll take a look at my attack log, because I'm definitely making this look easy, and by no means is it. It has a much lower success rate for me than air attacks. But like I said, I'm getting 3 attacks in for the equivalent of 2 air, and it's cheaper on my Sapphire cost, especially. Plus with training capsules, you can just pump these armies out a lot quicker, especially if you're running multiple accounts. Let's say you've got 2 accounts. You can kind of go back, pop 2 training capsules, go back and forth on each account. You'll only have a couple minutes in between to be waiting, so you can kind of get that consistent gameplay in. So here's one I wanted to show you with the heroes, because they do make a big difference sometimes, but I wanted to show you those other 2 just so you know you don't always need them. And usually the heroes just hang back and destroy the trash. So the reason I like this base, the anti-air was kind of exposed a little bit. Obviously, still doing the same thing. Blazes along the edges, 3 boom carts, about 20 helicopters. Then I drop the heroes. And really, you guys are going to notice the heroes are just going to hang back and destroy the trash. So even when you do have your heroes up, they're not often going to get hurt. Sometimes that can change, especially if the attack fails. You know, your heroes will try to go in and save the star. Then obviously they're going to go down. But really, their job is to just help clear the trash. And actually, you can see down there, I had a little bit of a problem with one of the mines. But it looks like my right side group is kind of picking up the slack. Now, if people have like 3 motors all bunched up, watch out for that too. That can ruin your day. So you still have to be kind of mindful of the placement of their defenses. And like I said, this isn't an attack for every kind of base. You also have to be okay with fails. Like I'm going to show you my attack log here in a second. I think there was like 3 fails in a row I had back when I was using this attack just the other day. So it can happen. It's not as consistent pushing trophies, but I just like the speed at which it can train, which I've said a few times. There we go, just kind of wrapping up the last little bit of trash. So let me show you my attack log so you can see it's not all glory and fame. Of course, the more you practice, the better you get, the more you're going to be able to assess the proper bases. But at the end of the day, you don't know where their traps are, so that can just ruin your day. So we can take a look through here. There was a 96%. I think I time failed that. Had a good run there. There's another time fail, but here's where you start to see some rough ones. Like I think that 50%, I had to clinch it just with the heroes. Same with the 53. There's an 80. There's a 50, a 90, a 50, a 70, 2 1-stars in a row. There's another 1-star. Another 1-star. And then this was no fun. These 3 bases, just good bombs. I mean, you know, it could be pretty frustrating getting 3 defeats back to back, and a 1-star right before that too. You can see some 1-stars down here. It does take a little bit of time practicing getting used to this attack. So like I said, it's by no means, you know, the only thing you should be using. You know, if you like air, if you want that little bit more consistent 3-stars, that's great. Like here's another fail. Oh, that was with a different attack actually. So definitely give it a try. See if you like it, especially with the improved train time. If you pop a capsule, like if you're a free-to-play player and you just pop a capsule, this can really help you get some armies out back to back to back. And then of course, if you're willing to use a little bit of Sapphire, this definitely makes these armies way cheaper. So you pop a capsule, I think on average I'm using like 150, 180 sapphire plus a capsule to hit my cap, where in comparison to air, I was using 300 to 400 sapphire plus a capsule. So pretty much like half price as far as the capsules go. So that's why I'm kind of sticking with this right now. I still love air. I still prefer it. It's more consistent. This feels like it's high risk, high reward, but it's definitely a ton of fun. Just to kind of show you guys the lineup again one more time: 39 blazes, 50 helicopters, 6 phages, 6 boom carts. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in today. Really appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel. Makes a big difference. We'll catch y'all in the next video. Cheers.